someone is feeling really empowered when it comes to a particular connection. Like, things are starting to actually flow. Now, there's an element of manifestation here, spiritual alignment, maybe some dream work or manifestation, something like this coming through. It can also be a spiritual connection and or a spiritual awakening pertaining to one or both of you that is moving this forward. So basically, a spiritual awakening on one side, the other side, or both is leading into some sort of fulfillment feeling. Now, this is going to, as it activates and expands, it's also going to unfold something else. So here we do have a tower moment. This is going to indicate some sort of a difficult conversation or a little bit of this. I'm hearing me versus you versus us against the problem. And then also I'm hearing dissolving that competitive nature, dissolving that me versus you or us versus something else. It's dissolving that competition. There's no such thing as healthy competition. It can exist, we can play, but at the end of the day, it's not healthy. It might be motivational, it might be helpful, but at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a healthy carcinogen. But your journey might show you otherwise around to that point. I don't know why that wanted to come through. But, so where they're at with this connection, oh my goodness. Did I just stutter? Where they're at with this connection is that there is an empowerment that's going on. And in some way, shape, or form, there's an element of this wanting to be seen. So, this is somebody who, they're aware that you will look good with them. Whether this is business, familial, personal, maybe it makes them, they can tell everybody that you're talking to them, or you're talking to them again. They can tell everybody that, it wasn't really a real problem. They can tell everybody that you're together. They can tell everybody that they are talking to you, or they got to talk to you, whatever this is. There is a superficial aspect to this, but this is part of what's unfolding through the spiritual awakening and activation that's going on right now. So these two things do coexist. The first one, falling off, the spiritual awakening, the transformation, the self-fulfillment coming through first and foremost. Now, if this is something that's business and it's positive, there's no competitive, this can be a collaboration. It doesn't need to be a bad thing, right? But if this is somebody who's really superficial and they really care about looks, it might be whatever. Like, they get to say that they have you, the idea of you is cooler. Take it for your specific situation. So where they're at with this connection, it is really wanting to move things forward and move things forward quickly. There's an element of having made a decision to move something forward and now being aware that they were not moving in that way in the past. So the next moves are to, I'm hearing take slow, energetic steps towards you. There's some sort of foundation that's already established, so it's to continue to build this foundation and see whether or not that still is relevant, okay? What you need to know is that, this can ground and be really fulfilling for you, probably in ways that you hadn't considered before. But I think that's part of it too. The fact that there was something that you hadn't considered before about this being something fulfilling for you is part of the reason why you were faced with this, the obstacles here, why you were faced with this conflict between something material and or stable versus this. It seemed as though these were intertwined in some way, shape, or form because you needed to learn something about your truth. How this was about time and effort distribution. This was about using time wisely and focusing on self. So this might mean that this is what you needed to learn through this, or it might mean that this was the reason for the disconnect. It might mean that whatever this was, this is something that someone needed to learn or something that someone needed to embody. Whatever this was, it can be, again, it can be good, it can be bad, it can be healthy, it can be not healthy. It depends on the individual and the connection to it. Especially if this isn't you, don't just presume or project that on there. No, it was unhealthy, because for them it might have been, right? Focusing on self and good time management might not make your, family members happy, for example. So they might say, oh, it's so unhealthy, right? But that might literally be the healthiest thing to do. So just to keep the mind open there. And also if this is you, then it makes sense, right? That is healthy to do. We do have the spiritual awakening, again, that's coming back through. And this is providing more tools with which to build. So if you don't have the tools and you're trying to build something, you don't have the time management, you're not focusing on yourself, you don't have the resources, it's kind of hard to build something, right? So now all of these tools are in place, things are back forward. So what you need to know is that if you so choose, we have free will. This is a prediction based upon your current energy, which is subject to change should you choose to change it, okay? This is fine for you to move forward with if you so choose. This energy is protected. It's protected. There's also something here that is really, really special, so it really shouldn't be rushed. Also, whatever it was, it won't seem that big. Like, I'm hearing that phrase when you're thinking about something, not to diminish the present moment or your thoughts or feelings or whatever about the situation, but would this matter 5 years from now? Would you remember that this happened 5 years from now? And even if you did, would you really care that much? Right? The answer is most likely no. It might not feel like no right now or when you're walking through it, but actually 5 years from now in a successful version of the situation wouldn't really matter. So you are being called to level with that perspective, okay? Just the perspective, okay? You can agree, you can disagree, but simply open your mind up to it, because you can consider other points of thought without it moving you from your own point of thought, right? But it's the ability to have that 360 perspective that allows you to fully understand yours and someone else's better as well. So we're just looking at perspectives here, ultimately. So, what they want you to know is that there's so much love here. It's not lost. The foundation has been stable and built, and they've been taking care of it in whatever way is relevant here. This has been a learning opportunity, and there's something about balancing creative energies, creative juices, I'm hearing. There is a potential for a future here, but also there's something that you need to know, and it's that something that you said or did, or something that you didn't say, or something that you didn't hear, something that was communicated that you didn't hear, or something that you said, or something that you did, purposely or unpurposefully. Okay, it's not the blame game, but there was something that happened here that hurt them, something that they expressed that you didn't hear or you didn't receive, or something that you said, maybe on purpose, maybe not on purpose, that hurt them, okay, which was a catalyst here. It made the trust part get affected here, okay? So, this is fair, this is just, okay? Remember that all feelings are valid. All feelings are valid. We don't invalidate other people's experiences. But with that being said, there are so many different options for the growth of the situation. And it's the way that this is dealt with moving forward, because there are a lot of different choices here. High Priestess, follow your intuition. You know that there's no love lost here. And you also know that there is some sort of a message that needs to be received or needs to get communicated or needs to get sent or something like this, because this has to do with learning, a learning curve. So maybe someone here is learning time management and how to focus on themselves more, how to think for themselves. Maybe someone needed time to tune in spiritually, and that's not personal. Sometimes you have to do that. Also, this can also be something where maybe they express something to you and they felt unheard, and then they express it to you again and they still felt unheard. So maybe that caused them to step back because they didn't feel like it was emotionally safe, right? Different dynamics possible, right? And again, we just honor and we hold space for that. You don't need to agree with what they're feeling or why they're feeling that way, but they have the right to feel that way. And same for you as well. They don't need to agree with what you feel or whether that's a response they would have had or anything like that, right? It's just, with the moon here, everybody is their own little universe that deserves to be learned, and we all do go back to the same source, but the nuance and the individuality is so different. So there might be also a perspective here of someone being really, really into source that almost neutralizes everything, and someone being super, super individualistic that it almost maybe knocked almost the spirituality or like the growth aspect, the ascension aspect out of something. So for example, if someone is really creative with this particular thing and they want to move forward into this direction, that's beautiful. But for someone who's really spiritual, that can also throw them into a spiritual detour that's not helpful for their growth. Hence the hermit energy. The other way around, if someone is super spiritual and neutralizing everything, all plants and animals and people and particles and breaths in this universe, and all universes are all equal, sometimes to the individual that wants to feel seen or wants to feel heard, that can feel dismissive, right? And it's not to say one is right or one is wrong. It's to say that where you are in the moment is showing you your right and your wrong, which is subject to change any moment based upon where you are. But messages from your angels is you can move forward with this. Pay attention to how you feel. Do look at the good times here, and don't get connected too much with what other people are saying, because a lot of them are just talking crap because they don't want to see you make a decision that doesn't